Bonjour, bonjour, oh, salam alaikum. And today is episode number 12 of Travels Around My Bedroom. And let me show you what I'm wearing so that you can guess where we are going today. Hold on a second. And just make sure that you can see. There you are. It looks like I'm about to fly in this beautiful gown. So, I don't know if you've realized, let me turn this. Here we are. I am going to take you to Saudi Arabia. So I was invited to Saudi Arabia I've put on the sunglasses as well. I was invited to Saudi Arabia 5 years ago, in 2015. And I was invited to give a lecture on tourism development. And it was a fascinating experience. So first of all, it all started with getting the visa to go to Saudi, because they don't actually normally give visas to single women that are unmarried. They were not at the time, and they've relaxed the traveling conditions now. So it's much easier to travel to Saudi. But I was also invited with another friend of mine who was married at the time, and lived in Belgium. And my visa application from London was so smooth. It was unbelievable. But she had, at the time, to get a signature from her husband so that she was authorized to leave Belgium in order to go to Saudi. So you can see. So the two of us were actually on the same flight when we arrived. And it was so funny because it was Easter, and Easter is actually coming. And she was going to Italy after Saudi. And she had Easter eggs in her luggage that were full of alcohol. And of course, you can't get that through normally, yes? But we just actually, I don't know if I should say that, but hey, I will. We lied through our eyes, when we were asked if there was any alcohol in the luggage. I mean, we knew there was alcohol in the chocolate eggs, but we thought, hey, that doesn't really pass for alcohol. So we went through smoothly. And when we arrived at the hotel, we had to change in our gear. Now, what you have to know is that when you are on a plane with Saudi women, the minute that they know that they're going to arrive, they're in their normal kind of gear and clothes. The minute they arrive, they put on their stuff, they go to the toilet on the plane, and then they change. And the same thing when they fly back. Yes, they are in their dresses, and the minute they know that they're outside of Saudi airspace, the jeans and the t-shirts come out. And they are very, very classy and sexy women, that's for sure. I mean, you just have to look at the way that they put on some makeup. I made a little bit of an effort today to add a little bit of color, but that's not something that I usually do. So we had to change, and I bought those when I was in the UK anyway, before my departure. And then from all the duration of our trip, we had to wear these beautiful dresses. And actually, they're very flowy, the ones that I have. And I felt very, very glamorous for the whole time of my journey and my trip there. I stayed for about 4 days. And it was just so funny because when I was doing my lecture, the room was divided. So in 2/3, one third was for the women, and then you had a movable wall, and then the other 2/3 were for men. But at the end of the lecture, all of them would come and speak to me anyway. So it was just kind of like a tick the box exercise. It was just really, really funny. And at the fair, at the exhibition fair, there was a young woman, a young fashion designer and jewelry designer who made this. So I had to buy it. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's an old piece of jewelry that she's completely transformed and done something completely new with it. Yes. So what I was also not expecting when I flew into Saudi is to show up at the exhibition fair and to be absolutely like swarmed under women tour operators, ladies tour operators that run tours and experiences in Saudi Arabia. I just somehow had thought that women couldn't have businesses. Well, I could not have been more wrong. And it was such an amazing experience to meet these women and talk to them. And one of them invited me. She said, "What are you doing on Friday?" I said, "Well, I'm not doing anything." "Okay, vamos, let's go. And I'll take you for free." And that was amazingly generous of her to go to some of the most beautiful places that we can access, within the time that's available. So there we went, also with my colleague from Italy, Sylvia. And we went to discover what they call the end of the world. And I can tell you, it really feels like you are at the end of the world. And it was amazing because the minute we left Riyadh, our dresses came out and we were just in little t-shirt and shorts. So I realized that there was so much like hidden freedom that you're not aware of. So her son took us and was our guide, and we then talked to him about just want to make sure. Sorry, I'm making some notes. I want to make sure that you can see it because it's so gorgeous. So her son took us out, and we started talking to him about how do young people live and how does especially dating work and what is the meaning of falling in love, and how do you get married? So it was such a fascinating discussion because so you have shopping malls, and you have a shopping mall for men, a shopping mall for women, and then you have a shopping mall for both. So a lot of looking around also happens in shopping malls, but at the time they were not allowed to speak to each other. And of course, they use social media all the time. So there was a lot of dating that was happening on Facebook. And when I asked them, what the hell do you do at the weekend? So these young people, the men get together, they will rent a flat and they will go out of town and they will spend time just playing together, or they'll go out to the desert and they'll camp. And I couldn't speak to young girls, so I don't know what they're doing. But in my experience of traveling in the Middle East, girls always get together and have a great party between girls. And this is falling. And when I was asking about, okay, how are you going to get married? So he said, well, my mother is going to choose my wife. And Sylvia and I, we looked at each other and we thought, okay, but what about falling in love? And then he said I think it's really profound. And it really makes you think about your values as a Westerner. He said, I trust my mother to choose the best woman for me. And love is a journey. You fall in love when you're creating a home, when you're creating a family. You don't have to necessarily be in love. It is something that you do together and you commit to that person, and then you fall in love with them on the way to constructing this family and this life together. And, it really makes you think because I thought this was so well expressed, and the certainty that young man had in knowing that things would be okay because his mother knew him. And that also is a testament of the closeness, between a son and his mother. And that I thought was very, very beautiful. So there are a lot of things that you can actually do in Saudi, because my job was to tell the attendees to my lecture about all the different ideas of tourism experiences that they could develop. So they can have conservation tourism. They have things like, I don't know if you know, people, I had to get back to my PowerPoint presentation at the time. But if you allow me, they have turtles, they have whales, they have dugongs, people, dugongs, Arabian oryx, and Persian onagers. And I actually forgot what is an onager, so I'll have to Google that. But the great thing during my research is that I discovered as well, and I'm a massive advocate for responsible tourism and community tourism. I discovered that that was really entrancing to the teachings of the Quran. So you have things such as in the Quran, they will say, travel, you will find a replacement for what you leave behind, and strive because the joy of living is in striving. Or there is another saying that says, if one travels, he becomes sought out. If one travels, he is honored like gold. And I thought that was just so amazingly beautiful. So things and experiences that I would love to see being developed in Saudi are things such as making perfumes. Oh my God, the Saudi women are absolutely nuts about perfume. I saw like these massive big travel trunks full of little compartments, and in each little compartment you could put a different type of perfume, and of course you can create your own perfume, which is nuts. Then of course there is the whole meditation retreats that you can have there, because the countryside and the landscape is amazing. You can do things like mountain biking, like sand biking, something that is also called land sailing, which are going into these little boats that have a sail, and then the wind just pushes you on the sand. And of course, cooking lessons. So there is, and hiking and going into the desert. So there is so much you can do. And of course, the historical heritage of the country is also very, very fascinating. I got to see some of that. So I know this is a much longer post than I expected, and I've got to run now. But I just wanted to finish by saying, imagine going to a place that you think is not for you. Imagine going to a place that would be totally open to a different type of experiences, and where your prejudices could be completely smashed out. So there you are. What place, what country would you go to? Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.